Yes, Chef.
So going.
All right. I think I saw you this week. Actually, yesterday when I went to pick up my food, was that you in the class? I waved.
Class. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you were in class. Yeah, I was picking up my food.
I teach a morning class, an evening class. Hey, Juanita.
I got there early that morning and it wasn't ready, so I had to wait and come back after I got off work.
That's the only holiday, the only vacation day. Labor Day is behind us now, so that happens sometimes. President's Day, Martin Luther King Day.
Mm-hmm.
In the spring semester, kind of the same thing happens.
So I have a question, Chef, because I totally forgot to come pick up my food today. Do you know if it'll happen to be available tomorrow?
So the short answer is, yeah, but you might have to spend some time in the freezer getting it.
Okay. Okay, that'll work.
Obviously, nothing gets thrown out, but today there's a product ID class, and so they break down. It's an evening. They break down all the online carts. They break down all the carts that have come back to product ID, and then build new carts. And so, for our online class, the cart gets broken down on Wednesday.
And we didn't get a duck.
Nope, I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute when everybody gets on.
Okay.
That happens. We can't control the weather.
That's true.
Oh, April's got a towel head.
I've had one heck of a day and I haven't been home long.
No worries. I've had a day too. Everybody has days. My wife decided that it's time to pass a kidney stone
Uh-oh.
that we spent last night in the emergency room. And I still had class this morning. And
Oh man.
so I'm
Better.
she's doing a lot better. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I think we're gonna take it slow and easy the rest of the week. But
Yeah.
So if I'm a little slow and easy tonight, y'all know why. And I've got 5:31, so we're gonna go ahead and start. Obviously, I'm not in my kitchen and I don't have my knives and a cutting board out and stuff to cut because as San has already observed, y'all didn't get any duck.
Nope.
Here's what's going to happen. We're going to go ahead and go forward with the lab as it is. So obviously for your 40 points, all you're really going to do is, I believe you just got one squab.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so doing the best you can to try to bone that squab. You'll keep the leg bones and or leg and thigh bones. You'll keep the wing bones on. So it's really the back bones or the backbone and the ribs, the wishbone. If you haven't seen the little video, watch them both, but pay most of your attention to the deboning the squab. Or quail, she's actually using quail. Same kind of thing. They're not the same birds. We're going to look at that here in just a minute. But when we're able to get duck, and it's not just us that didn't get duck. It was not, it wasn't somebody forgot to do the order or anything like that. Chef McAfee for the Pine Bluff Country Club ordered duck for this week as well. And Cisco doesn't have duck. Benny Keith doesn't have duck. Our usual places to get this kind of product just doesn't have, whether it's because of COVID and just like other places, supply chain issues. Our purveyors don't have duck right now, so we don't have any. We have a standing order as soon as, I think it's with Benny Keith, as soon as ducks come in, we'll get ducks. And so that means this week, hooray, you got a very light week. You're going to cut up one squab. In another week or two or three, you might have a busier week, because when the ducks come in, you'll get ducks. I'll modify a lab a little bit and I'll demo breaking down a duck and, all of that. Really, y'all have been doing, from food one and now last week, lots of practice with 3 chickens. Even if you only just broke down 2, still, we're all doing really good work with the chicken, and the process, the anatomy is pretty much the same. There are a couple of things to be mindful of with duck. The skin is thicker, but it's the fat underneath the skin that is so valuable. It's so flavorful. And carcass stuff, we want to, we don't learn this in this class. I might add it whenever we get the ducks in, rendering the duck fat down in order to comb feet. I'll talk about that in a minute, I think. Just fry some potatoes in duck fat. You're welcome.
It makes good dressing.
For your
It makes excellent dressing. It's
Now,
rich, but it's good.
Do you make dressing or stuffing?
Dressing.
Now, which one is right? Dressing or stuffing?
Dressing.
Dressing.
I'm just saying.
That's the big debate, and we're on that side of the year, so we'll be going. What's the big debate? Is it dressing or is it stuffing? Which is it?
Dressing.
Well, which is what? What is dressing? Are they
Dressing is made with cornbread. Stuffing is breadcrumbs.
So that's your definition.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I've not heard that, April, not heard that definition before, but okay.
So I thought they were essentially the same. The only difference is stuffing is usually stuffed inside of the bird, which is how it got its name.
And so what's dressing?
It's still a cornbread based.
When you put your celery and onion and your drippings from your bird in there and put it in the oven.
So could it possibly be the difference is because like in my dressing, I put meat in mine, and I would assume that in stuffing, although it's cornbread based, because it's stuffed inside of the meat, you don't put meat in there? Could there be
I don't put meat in my dressing.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Juanita, what kind of meat do you put in it? Do you put bacon in it? Well, then if you put bacon in it, then make the bacon and get all of the dressing ingredient, mise your dressing, and put all the rest of that off to the side and just serve the bacon. And that's fish. That's the perfect dish right there. Dressing, you bake in a pan like a casserole dish. Stuff in the bird. Now, all y'all are Southern, aren't you?
Yes.
Gotta be cornbread dressing.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Is there another kind?
Yes. Sourdough bread, white bread, wheat bread, bread dressing. Cornbread is sweet cornbread goes with chili.
No, saltine crackers go with chili.
Hey,
No, cornbread goes with chili also.
who's the chef? Yes. It's not a democracy. Remember, it's not a democracy, it's a chefocracy. Hey, let's talk about some birds here real quick. Here's what, so I'm going to share my screen. All right. You see knife, fork, and spoon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I maybe just for a point of discussion, or it may raise a question or two, a thought. You can tell at least this last week and this week has been more about poultry, fowl, birds, using birds. As I said a minute ago, the anatomy is basically the same. You have two breast lobes separated by a keel bone. There's a wishbone. I kind of find it funny that the lady in the breaking down the squab, breaking down the quail, she kept calling it a collarbone. You know, find the collarbone. Birds don't have collarbones. Just saying. But what she's doing is good stuff. We're going to go through just a handful of birds. We're going to start at the smallest, and we're going to go to the largest of birds that I have broken down, I have fabricated, or I have cooked some piece of these birds. Some whole bird, some maybe just a piece of the leg or a piece of breast meat or something like that. Okay, I've cooked all of these. There's a whole world of birds that I'm sure Noah had flying all around the ark. Could you imagine being on Noah's Ark? I've been to the zoo, and there are places in the zoo that kind of smell to high heaven. Could you imagine being on the ark? I'm just saying that this isn't Sunday school, so we won't go into the scriptures or any further than that, but just think about being on the ark. Now, all these birds are flying around everywhere. Okay. Here's our smallest, and you have that bird to work with this week. Squab. Squab is a pigeon or a dove, except you follow my cursor, it's the baby. Squab is the veal of pigeon or dove. This is a dove here. Squab is no older than 4 weeks. So, not even a month old. Very, very tender. You have to remember that and keep that in mind when you cook it, because it will cook very fast. It overcooks very fast. What does it taste like? Everything tastes like chicken, doesn't it? Kindly. Different brand, but you bought a little package, or you picked up a little package that looks about like that. And that whole squab probably fits maybe a little bit bigger than your cell phone. Right?
It's small.
Appetizer. So here's just a little piece of squab. This is a close-up. So here's an appetizer. Okay. Notice the doneness of the meat. What do y'all think about that?
It looks rare.
Uh-huh. These wild fowl birds. So
Aren't they red meat though?
They're on the red meat side. They taste and feel like dark meat chicken. Okay. If you cook it all the way to gray, oh my, that it really is shoe leather. There's no juiciness to it at all. And so The challenge, which we're not really covering in this class, we will start to do this a little more and more. I would like, maybe just send me, okay, here we go. In fact, let's do this. Break down your squab, maybe do a little research online. Don't go spend a whole ton of money. Don't go do something that's, you know, a Michelin star thing and you've got to go get some cauliflower and parsnip and bacon and, you know, try to use stuff that you already have in your refrigerator and freezer and in your cupboards. Use basic staples that you would always have around a restaurant kitchen: oil, flour, sugar, salt, pepper, some basic spices. Use what you already have and make dinner. Create a dish with your squab. And then shoot me an email of kind of, this is what it tasted like to me. I describe the taste kind of like what we've done before in food too. Saying you haven't done that yet. Okay, but you're going to get there. Do something like that. 10 bonus points. So if you don't do it, no harm, no foul. But no foul. Get it? I'll be here all night. Just throw money. Don't overcook. It's very, very delicate meat. It's more resistant to things than fish, but it is very, very much more delicate than chicken. Okay, so keep that in mind. Quail. If you've had quail but never had squab, very, very, very almost identical in flavor and how you handle them. If you haven't had either, squab's going to be a really good and nice, a very good experience. To give you kind of the size, look at the zucchini over here. This is somebody's mies or partial mies. They've got ginger up here, and I can't really tell if those are sweet potatoes or some other kind of squash of some kind. And these are quail eggs. Quail eggs are very common for richness, for thickness. Putting quail eggs on the top of beef tartare, maybe tuna tartare. Y'all know what that is?
Yes.
Raw tuna, raw beef tenderloin that's minced really, really fine, and then it's seasoned, and you put a quail egg on it. This is a grilled and roasted quail with a little corn pudding, and I'm not sure. These might be cherry pits. Not sure exactly what those are.
That looks like a very beautiful plate.
One quail. The quail is just cut in half after it was cooked and then presented on the plate, crisscrossed over each other on top of some corn pudding. Now, just between us, y'all know it's fresh enough. Y'all know how I feel about topping, especially a hot plate, hot food, topping it with microgreens. But this is a very lovely plate. Quail, love it. This is something you can cook entirely just on the saute pan with oil, with butter, a little mix of olive oil and butter with some garlic and onion in the oil. And you just baste, you turn, baste, The quail comes out very, very, very yummy. I would say, as wild birds go, notice the degree of doneness in here. This is right on the edge of overcooked. Very common to do on the grill. This is grilled. So it's cooked on a broiler. A very, very common, such a delicate bird to cook it a little bit too far on the high heat of a grill. These smaller birds, smaller red meat birds are very, very delicate. But you would think that of anything that's really small. And like the squab, it's not even 4 weeks old. And so very, very tender. Pheasant, y'all familiar with a pheasant?
Yes.
Beautiful bird and very, very delicious. If you roasted a chicken and you roasted a whole pheasant and served them side by side and did a blind taste test, you couldn't tell the difference. It's smaller, and it looks like even the breast looks like it's all red meat. It is a lot more red under the skin, but when it's cooked, this is still kind of white meat area, and this is dark meat area, just like a chicken. Smaller than a chicken. Those 3 to 5 pound birds that we buy at Walmart or we get from the culinary school, pheasant's about half that. So you're going to have about 1.5 to 2.5 pounds of bird, after the feathers have been plucked, and what you have left to cook with is going to be in that range of about 1.5 to maybe 3 pounds would be a pretty big, where a chicken, a whole poussin is going to be 3 to 5 pounds. Presented, used, the accompaniments on the plate, just like chicken. What do y'all think about a blackberry sauce?
That's different.
Different?
I bet
It
that's
is
good though.
Marvelous.
I bet it kind of complements that.
You've got some kind of chicken jus going on here as well. So we're going to be, maybe not necessarily in this class, but you're going to start seeing plates now. How many of you are in food 3? You'll be seeing more and more plates of mixed sauces, flavored infused oils, things like that on the plate. And so anyway, here's one example. A bird that I'm sure, I don't know if anybody at all is familiar with this bird. If you've never seen one before, around here, we kind of call this yard bird. They're annoying, especially right around sunrise, and it's a Saturday morning and you get to sleep in until 7:30, and at 6:15 the neighbor downtown Morrilton allows chickens, and down just your neighbor right next door has 2 chickens. One of them's a rooster. And
Oh, no.
stupid thing. If you've never seen this before, you cut down the chicken into many different pieces. And then, well, before you cut it down, you can roast the whole chicken. That's a good dinner. Roast the Cornish game hen, which is the baby chicken just like the squab is a baby pigeon. If there's just two of you, roast the Cornish game hen. Chicken, just small chicken, baby chicken. Okay. Or our classical Southern favorite, just the Sunday afternoon fried chicken, mashed potatoes, white gravy, and y'all can have all the greens and the green beans and stuff like that you want. I'll just have the chicken and the taters, and we're all happy. As I said already, we will play with ducks whenever the ducks come in. Notice, if you can see in the picture here, it's very fatty compared to the chicken, and we don't want to waste any of that. Now, I'm going to save skin on the duck breast. You don't want to cook duck breast without the skin on and the fat underneath the skin. But any skin and fat that you trim off around the tail, between the narrow breast tips and between the leg and thigh, all of that fat, you want to save it and then render it. Melt it down, cook it slow in a saucepan, and the fat melts and kind of turns to liquid. If you do that with a little bit of water, then you'll also separate the impurities. And the water is heavier. The water is going to take any impurities and sink it down to the bottom of whatever cup or glass or dish that you put this in. And you pour out the water and all of the liquid fat and strain out the solids, and then put that in the refrigerator. You come back the next morning and you've got this solid, waxy, for duck, it's going to be kind of yellowy, a yellow tint to it. And that is purified, just duck fat. I would keep that in the refrigerator, but a little spoon, a little scoop of that, fried potatoes. Who was it that said use that rendered duck fat for your dressing? Got us on the whole dressing and saying you do that. Duck fat is beautiful, it's marvelous. Here's duck breast, properly cooked duck breast, thinly sliced. Notice the maillard. Notice the crispy, the crusting, and the fat, and the rare to medium rare. If you go past medium rare of duck breast, you've ruined it. So this will be something that we work on whenever we get the ducks. I'll probably give you a little cooking assignment to cook both duck breasts in different pans or in different settings. Cook one, slice it, see if you overcooked it or undercooked it. Cook the other one. There you go.
That looks so good.
Do this with a little fresh cherry glaze, reduced cherry, a hint of sugar, a little bit of soy sauce, and cherries, shallots, garlic. I know, just slap your mama. Don't slap your mama. Okay. Very common with your duck legs. Have you heard the term duck confit? C-O-N-F-I-T, confit. Duck confit. That's cooking the duck in its own fat. You're gonna simmer. Okay. Remember, it's poaching. So consider the temperature of poaching liquid. You're not frying the legs. And any meat that you confit, you're poaching that meat in fat. It takes a lot of duck fat. So at the school, we save all the duck scraps. And then usually it's Jen and Regina in purchasing, maybe Zach, they will render down all the fat and we collect it and save it and keep it in the freezer. And because we don't know when we'll use it again. And once or twice a year, we'll do something in food 3 or food 4 that we need to confit. And it is from raw, it's seasoned, maybe marinated, but then it goes in the fat at the poaching liquid temperature. And it cooks for a long time. And then when it's almost done cooking, you take the whole vessel off of the burner, cover it up, and put the whole thing in the refrigerator. And so all that fat, as it cools, it hardens around the duck legs, and that makes those legs, I mean, tender like butter, but so full of flavor. Fat is flavor, right? There is a ton of flavor in a confit. Certainly because of a personal experience, a particular favorite, which is difficult to do at home, not impossible. This is Peking duck. This is something very common in mainland China. This is essentially homemade hoisin sauce. It looks pretty different than the hoisin sauce that you buy from La Choy or wherever, you buy from Walmart or from Kroger or Harps. And actually you should be using a little, this looks like it's already mixed together, but there should be a little bit of plum sauce, Chinese plum sauce, and a little hoisin sauce. Okay. Daikon radish. This looks like zucchini, but they would also use leeks, the green outside, not the leek tops, but the outside. You take the very outside layer off and toss it. It's very fibrous, but still kind of the green outer layers of the leek. And then usually these might be either raw or deep fried. And then this, if you can see the white behind the duck, this is the Chinese word is a pancake. It's a cross between a flour tortilla and a crepe. And so it's really, really soft and eggy for a tortilla, but it's far denser than just your everyday French crepe. And so it's roasted. It's not cooked all the way. And then at a certain place, usually up around the neck, there's a little slit. And then an air hose, just, kind of resembles your aquarium. If you keep tropical fish, one of those flexible air hoses, and they use just a hand bulb pump, and they pump air between the skin and the meat, and then flash deep fry it. That finishes cooking the meat. And that makes the skin, ultra, ultra crispy. And so you've got just a little bit, like a little handful. These tortillas are about the size of street tacos, probably 4 inches. And so you get a little spoon and a dollop of the plum sauce and hoisin sauce and a little bit of your veg. And the meat will actually, if it's done really well by a master, the meat shreds. If it's not done by a master, then they take one of those large cleavers and kind of shred the meat and put meat and a little crispy skin in each little tortilla. And this is street food in China. Delicious, wonderful, delicious. Most of the places where I ate this in Beijing, you would not go there. Certainly as an American chef, you wouldn't go to those places because of their great food service sanitation. Their sanitation was not so bueno at all, but the food was marvelous. And the trots only lasted for a day or two, so worth it. Thank you, April, for the courtesy laugh. I appreciate that. Yes, the trots do happen from time to time. Goose. Charles Dickens. Scrooge, when he comes to his senses, wants in Charles Dickens' writing of A Christmas Carol, it's actually the Christmas goose. He wants the big fat goose. On the TV renditions of The Christmas Carol, he wants the biggest turkey that you can find. But in that time period in England, turkey really wasn't on the menu. And so it was goose. Little geese for Bob Cratchit and, you know, the poorer, the working class, big, well-fed, grain-fed, farmed geese for the more wealthy and aristocratic. It's hard to tell. Most of y'all have done enough at the school to know the size of these sprigs of rosemary. So I liked this picture because it gives you a little sense of scale. These sprigs of rosemary are about 7-8 inches. And so you've got a bird here that this is called dressed. So it's already been, you know, feather plucked. It's been gutted, bled, heads cut off, tails cut off, the feet are cut off, and it's ready now for culinary use. It's called dressed. Any animal that is killed and prepared to this point is called dressed. I don't know where that term came from in this context, because if you ask me and my very simple mind, it looks like this goose is undressed, but that's neither here nor there. I've said my piece and counted to 3. Very, very much like the duck, the feel, the shape, it's kind of a elongated body compared to some of these other birds. Fatty, and I wouldn't mix goose fat with duck fat. There's a reason why duck fat is much more prized than any other bird fat. I personally wouldn't be saving any goose fat, but there you go. Liver of either duck or goose, that's foie gras. Now, just go to Kroger. I know every once in a while the Kroger on Marketplace, the Kroger Marketplace on Salem in Conway, Maple Leaf is the brand, and most of the time that's the same brand that Cisco carries. Maple Leaf, it's a farmed duck. The liver in that duck, in the cavity of that duck, is not foie gras. We're not going to get into the social, the political correctness of everything, but in order to prepare an animal to give us foie gras, it's a very specific diet for a very specific period of time, and the bird is force fed. And that feeding forces the liver to enlarge about 5 to 8 times its normal size. We get a condition called fatty liver. We force that condition on the duck and the goose to give us an extra fat liver. That is foie gras. Okay. Well, that's kind of pixelated, but there's a little bit of, it just doesn't even look good. So we'll keep going. Turkey lurkey, we're getting into that season here pretty soon, where you might start thinking about turkeys. I would assume that everyone has cooked a turkey at least once. Most all y'all have come to culinary school already with some, at least at home food experience, and you're a little bit foodies. And so this might be the most typical, your Thanksgiving, your Christmas turkey. Why in the world, it's a question, this is rhetorical. Why in the world is it only Christmas or Thanksgiving, Christmas and Thanksgiving, that we eat turkey? You can have turkey legs, turkey breasts, turkey thighs. You may be hard to find the whole big turkey all year round, but I know at my Walmart here in Morrilton, I can get a turkey breast, whole turkey breast. I can get bone-in turkey breast. And that is perfect for Thanksgiving. That's perfect for Christmas for just me and my wife, and having leftovers. Still that's a lot of meat for just 2 people. We don't buy, it's been a while since I've had a whole big turkey. I prefer the white meat anyway. And so the dark meat, I prefer that in soup, turkey and dumplings, chicken and dumplings. I want leg and thigh in that. Anyway, you've seen this kind of application. Maybe a roasting pan with a roasting rack, and you get a nice crispy skin all the way around. And here's the breast that's been cut off. You see the cranberries. You see some, looks like scalloped potatoes. I'm not sure what the green is back here. That's a little light to be green bean or green bean casserole, could be. You see the debate continues. Is that stuffing? Is that dressing? I don't know. You see the gravy. Okay. Do you use giblet gravy? Who makes giblet gravy? And you save the parts and you make giblet gravy. Who saves the drippings and makes a cream gravy from the drippings? Rich. Yes. Okay. And I think here is the most appropriate application for the green beans. Just raw on the plate, give the plate a little bit of color, and then throw them away after you've carved the bird. That's the best green beans ever. Don't waste them by mixing it up with the bacon. Just eat the bacon. Okay. Did y'all know that you can eat this?
Nope.
In Africa, it is the ostrich. In the United States and other Western countries, it is the emu. They are both, they're brother and sister to each other. They're essentially the same bird. A little bit of difference. The emu is a little bit smaller, but that's environmental. I wouldn't call the ostrich or the emu different birds in the same way that I would call a gray squirrel and a red squirrel. They're both squirrels. When you take the skin off and you use those squirrels in squirrel and dumplings, you can't tell if it's a red squirrel or a gray squirrel. It's just squirrel. Okay. That's what it's like manhandling an ostrich. I don't know what country this is that looks like, well, I don't know. I'm not even going to guess if that's the Philippines or, I don't know. This is a whole ostrich that is being cooked kind of Hawaiian Kahlua pig style. It's being cooked in a pit. So this is just a couple of steps in the process. There's going to be other leaves piled on top, and then there's going to be hot coals shoveled all over that. There are hot rocks underneath. And then the whole thing is going to be covered with dirt. And they'll come back in about 3 days and dig everything out. And it's like the whole town has this feast around this giant bird. This is the ultimate, though, in bird, in fowl, red meat. In fact, ostrich, emu is treated and tastes just like steak, just like beef. So it's a bird. Yes, it's all red meat, and red meat, not dark meat. This is red meat like lamb, pork. Even though it is a bird, this is a red meat bird. The muscle fibers have a mouth feel. The texture is just like beef. And so here's a cherry sauce. You can see the cherries, sauce, potatoes, and season that like you would a flank steak. Grill it, finish it in the oven. And just like steak, your personal preference. Would you want this rare, medium rare? How would you want the yes, the same feel. If y'all remember food 2, the same, rare, medium, well done. So the temperature ranges just like beef. And so there you go. It's delicious. I was a chef at UCA, and UCA had hired a new president. And the first lady didn't think very highly of me as a chef because, as all y'all know, as a Mormon, I don't drink. And so one skill that many chefs have that I don't is pairing wines. I know the taste of this wine, this vintage, and this wine goes with this meat or this cheese or this flavor profile or this beer or blah, blah, blah. I don't have that vocabulary. And so she tested me. And this was the first. I had to prepare for her and some of the vice presidents of the university and their wives, their spouses. She wanted ostrich. And she specifically did not want emu. So I had to scout and hunt and search and find a vendor that could get me African ostrich. And of course, the students at UCA paid for it because, that was incredibly expensive. And that kind of thing for the president's office was, paid for by students. So alligator tail, that was not really a challenge. I'm trying to think what else. I think those two were the big main ones. But it's the only time that I've had ostrich. It's the only time I've cooked it. I did a lot of research, and it was all true. It is just like steak, and wonderful, delicious. I'm a big beef eater anyway, and so loved it. All right, what do you want to know about? I want to know anything about birds.
That was a lot.
That is a lot. Would it help if I put that PowerPoint as well as this the recording? If I put the PowerPoint in Blackboard?
Yes.
Would y'all like that? Okay, I'll do that this evening. Any questions about the class as things are going and progressing? Any questions about anything? Do you foresee any hiccups? If there were going to be real hiccups picking up product, this is the week that there would have been hiccups because, we had to shave off a day. But classes, like our product ID classes, don't move over a day, don't shuffle. And so we're just kind of left with Juanita, you're going tomorrow. Anybody else do y'all have, were you able to get your product either yesterday or today?
I got mine yesterday.
So if you didn't, and I'll go ahead and say this for the people that aren't attending that will get the recording. I can say this about this week's product. I know that the squab that has not been picked up is gone in the freezer, and they're individual. And we have quite a bit of individually. That's probably what you picked up. You should have gotten another chicken.
Right.
And when you picked it up, it was probably frozen.
Yes.
And it was vacuum sealed all by itself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This week, the lab directions ask for a picture of your mies and a picture of your finished cuts of duck and squab. I only want to see the squab. You can use the chicken to feed your family. You can use the chicken to just practice, become a little more proficient. You're going to do a lot. Remember food one? And I said, you're going to get sick of potatoes. You're going to get sick of onions. And how many of y'all got sick of potatoes and sick of onions? But y'all can cut potatoes and onions now. You're welcome. In meat and seafood, you're going to get sick of chicken.
Consistency.
You've got to have consistency. Now, with meat and seafood, the purpose, the reason behind doing so many chickens is not to fill your freezer with chickens for the winter, even though that's a nice byproduct of this class. You need to get enough practice so that you are consistent, you are proficient, and you can do this quickly. April, I think everybody knows, April works in an institutional food environment where it's mass feeding for every meal. April, how much do y'all feed for breakfast and lunch? You're just at the junior high, right?
I'm just at the junior high. We have 710 students this year, and my breakfast is like up to almost 300 kids eating, and lunch is about 420 kids eating every day.
So imagine you're buying whole chickens because it's economical, but you have to break down all the parts.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that at UCA. That's where I got good at fabricating chicken.
That's a lot of chicken.
At UCA or at Searcy Junior High?
Both. That's a lot of chicken.
Yeah. So we didn't serve chicken at breakfast, and I doubt April serves chicken for breakfast at the junior high.
It's chicken patties or chicken strips already done. I just have to put them in the oven. Like tomorrow's chicken and waffles.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
One of these days, Jamie Oliver is going to come to Arkansas, Chef Jamie Oliver, and he and Michelle Obama are going to come in and they're going to save all the children's and they're going to make you get rid of all the AP product and you have to use the whole chicken. That's what we did at UCA. We broke down whole chickens and broke down. We did whole chickens for chicken quarters. If we were roasting chicken quarters for a lunch, you could choose. I want dark meat, light meat. Dark meat was a chicken and thigh quarter, and white meat was bone in, breast and wing. So like split breast with the wing still attached, all bone in. And I can quarter one whole chicken with a cleaver in about 15 seconds. And we have to do that because a lunch at UCA in my day, we were feeding about 5,500. Breakfast was about 2,000. Dinner's about 3,000 to 3,500. Except for the weekends. That's kind of Monday, Sunday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday was dead. I mean, we probably had 500 people. So yes, that's right, Brenda. That's a lot of chicken. We would buy the cases that are 24 chickens in a case. And I don't know, I would have almost a third of the truck in chickens. I was delivering it. I was ordering every day. We got deliveries every weekday. Biggest deliveries were Fridays because we were being delivered for the whole weekend and Monday. You know, always get a truck for the next day. You don't get a truck for the same day. Anyway, that's restaurant industry kind of stuff. You have questions about anything else? I've mentioned this before. This is my last thing. How would y'all feel about if I added to what you're doing right now? If I added one other assignment and ask you to cook something that you're breaking down and take a picture of that plate, whether it's a full plate presentation. I personally don't feel like I can assign a full plate presentation without giving you all of the product and I tell you what to cook. I want to do something where, especially where you're going to be handling meats that maybe you never have before, especially when we get into the seafood section. We got 3 weeks of seafood right in the middle of the semester. I want you all to kind of push your creativity and what you would normally cook for your dinner, but still plate nice. How would y'all feel about an assignment like that added to each lab? You know,
I like that idea, but like I said last week, if you could give me an idea for how to do it, because some of this I've maybe never cooked before and wouldn't really know what to do with it.
So, I think we did have this conversation last week, didn't we? If I suggested cooking methods,
Yes.
not telling you need to deep fry with some cornmeal but this could be deep fried, this could be poached, this could be steamed, and give you some options. Brenda, the chicken was not washed, and not that we've got a mix of ages and stuff in class. Actually, most in this class, most of us are a little bit older and have probably grown up in the, buy your whole raw chicken and then take it home and rinse it under cold water. And what are you rinsing off?
Nothing.
You're not doing anything at all. And in fact, go back to your basic food service sanitation. You are actually creating a bacterial overspray. You're putting salmonella on the edges of your sink, onto your countertops. If it really, really smells, it might be bad. It might be bad. Depends on what it smells like. We all have different sensitivities to smell. Meat product, any kind of meat, fish should smell sweet, not like sugar sweet, but it should have a fresh kind of sweet smell to it. If fish smells fishy,
It's bad.
or it's going bad. If we're getting whole fish, and for this class, you're going to get whole fish. When you pick it up, you want to keep it frozen until you're ready to use it. Don't thaw it out and leave it in the refrigerator for a few days. When the eyes go really cloudy and it smells fishy, I throw it out. Seafood has some pretty scary spores and stuff mixed in them. Beef, the very best beef you can put in your mouth is dry aged. And so it's held a certain way in your refrigerator for up to 2 months. Now we can get to some more specialty aging and go about 3 months. And you might be saying to yourself, but chef, I buy a steak and I bring the steak home, and if I don't cook it in about 4 or 5 days, it's going south. Beef is an acquired taste aged. If you smell ammonia, that little twang and burn of ammonia, or I hate to put it this way, but this is really true, especially of seafood. If you smell urine, if you smell old urine, pee, then especially throw that fish out, because that fish has released uric acid in its. Some fish species do that when they're killed, and it's terrible. It's bad. It's a toxin, and so dead chicken just stinks. But if it really, really stinks, if it turns your stomach, then I don't know. If you're accustomed to washing and patting dry and all of that, food too, when we go, remember there are times we want to pat stuff dry. That usually does your chicken just fine. Okay, what else? Yeah, Brenda, that's true. Except I don't care about anything that Martha Stewart has to say. That's no slight on you at all, I promise. That's just how I feel about Martha Stewart. And I feel worse about Rachel Ray. Oh, I'm sorry. I just had a little gag going on because I said Rachel Ray.
So why you give us a video with Rachel Ray?
Is there a video with Rachel Ray?
Yes.
Chef Jay did that. I just hadn't changed them.
Say the sanitation and stuff in the like in Tyson and stuff, it's very specific to the way things are, that is the cleanest chicken you're going to get. And so bringing it home, you will actually mess it up when you bring it home and try to wash it.
Yes. Yep.
So I don't do that
No, you know,
anymore.
I don't
Bring
eat
it home and take care of it.
What else? Anybody? Bueller? Y'all have a lovely night. Enjoy the squab. I will go ahead and give you a tip for the squab. I like a little bacon wrap. So if you debone it, you still have a leg bone and a thigh bone, and you still have a wing bone. If you wrap the half kind of loosely, don't wrap it really tight. There's not much meat there. Okay. Use thin sliced bacon, not thick, but wrap each just one slice of bacon. Okay. Roast that in the oven till the bacon is done. And maybe make some polenta, one of those corn puddings, something kind of corny. And I think one of the reasons why I kind of stopped for a minute on the, was it the pheasant that had a couple of blackberries and a little blackberry swirl or a little blackberry? Make your own barbecue sauce. So blackberries, cook those down to a mash, add a little bit of coarse brown mustard, little garlic, little smoked paprika, maybe a little horseradish, build up more or less a barbecue sauce, but instead of ketchup, use the blackberry, kind of blackberry mash or blackberry sauce. Cook all that down to a barbecue sauce. This combination of quail or squab, bacon, thin cut bacon, the corn from polenta, corn match, serve it with cornbread. And I don't, honestly, some sauteed greens, sauteed spinach, maybe with a little tomato in it. That is a very upscale, simple Southern meal. Greens, corn, cornbread, barbecue. But what do you have barbecued? Bacon, squab. Your barbecue sauce is blackberry. I think that's what I'm going to do this weekend. Now that we thought about it. Nighty night. If you want other ideas, email me, text me.
Thank you,
Chef.
Chef.
All right, good night.
Nighty night. Good
Good
week.
night, everybody.
Bye.